Hello and welcome to an exciting time for Bridgeforth LLP. We're thrilled to announce that starting this month, we'll be releasing a video series of interviews with our partners and key collaborators on what's going on in the worlds of ag, finance, and family business. Through this, we hope to provide you with tons of valuable insight, information, and perspectives from individuals who are moving their industry forward. Whether you're a small family business or a large enterprise, we plan on covering a broad range of topics from both financial and executive that can help you move your business forward. Our partners bring a unique perspective to the worlds of ag finance. With focuses on collaboration and strategic thinking, they've had the ability to help countless clients move through very complex financial situations, and has given them a very deep understanding of what it takes not only to build a successful business, but to grow an existing one. So with that, let's just jump right into it. I'm sure at this point you're wondering, what the heck is Bridgeforth? Well, 5 months ago, Bridgeforth was just an idea that existed inside of somebody's head. And fast forward 5 months, now we're an expanding team of 6 that are actively pursuing our goal and dreams of helping family-owned enterprises move forward and stay family. So how do we do that? Well, I could try to explain that to you and break it down, but I thought it would be a lot better for you to just hear how an idea gets developed into a reality. And with that, our founder and managing partner, ladies and gentlemen, Jay Joy. Jay, welcome in.
Hey, thanks, Levi. Thanks for having me this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just get right into it. So tell us a little bit about how something comes from an idea into a functioning business and team of 6 in a span of 6 months.
Well, it took a hell of a lot longer than 6 months for the idea to come to fruition. I've had the core concept behind the idea since about 2012, but it's just kind of been, I guess, marinating, percolating, whatever you want to call it. It's been the idea behind Bridgeforth has been forming, for over 10 years. It really started to take shape a couple years ago when I first started having conversations with my other 2 partners, Brock Peterson and Kurt Covington. I met Brock down in Northwest Arkansas, and we first started talking about this, probably 3 summers ago. So, it's one of those things you just, sometimes ideas take time to develop. Certain things happen along the way that kind of spur you into action. But really, this idea, like I said, it's been taking shape over the last really 10 years. And if you want to be honest about it, kind of the whole reason that I think I came up with the idea was I spent nearly 20 years either financing family-owned businesses, working for family-owned businesses, or consulting and advising family-owned businesses. So it's not like this thing is an overnight type of an idea. It's just, there was finally a moment where I said, you know what, if we're going to do this, let's do it. Let's either do it or quit talking about it. And so we made that decision in, I'd say, July. Brock and Kurt and I made that decision. And we had our first in-person meeting to talk about how are we going to spin this up in September of 2022. And now we're sitting here the 3rd of March. And the idea has come to life. So.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that I thought was super interesting was how much both you and Brock thought process or ideas behind what you were doing and then transitioning into this, just as far as, your transition into going independent. So Brock was working for a major poultry producer at the time as a CEO and CFO. Talk a little bit about your guys' transition away from, working with one company or as kind of like a W-2 and going out on your guys' own and becoming a fractional CFO.
Well, to me, it was kind of another, it's like almost a shit or get off the pot type moment. And so luckily I was very fortunate enough to have an employer at the time, which they're a client now, Best of 4 Farms in Belleville, Kansas. I was very fortunate that they gave me an opportunity to continue to pursue this idea and essentially transition them from an employer to a client over a period of, it was about a 12-month kind of transition where I went from full-time to 3/4 time to half-time and then to consultant. So, shout out to Thane Larson and Chase Larson for allowing me to have an opportunity to do that. And
Yeah, it's
so,
incredible.
yeah, so that was kind of how that transition went. And then, I spent probably a little over 3 years kind of flying solo or being what I call a lone wolf. And, that's good in some respects, because if you're kind of a solopreneur, if you will, a one man show, it allows you to move fast. But I always say, I always have this saying with clients: if you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, travel in packs. And so that was another reason why Brock and Kurt and I decided that, hey, this is something that we want to pursue together, because I truly do believe that collectively we're a hell of a lot stronger as a team than I was individually, Brock was individually, or Kurt was individually. So
Yeah. How was what were the feelings like taking that risk, going from something completely comfortable and secure in a position with like best of four, and going, you know what, I think I can just do more by myself, and taking that risk to go do that?
um no risk it, no biscuit, baby. I guess
Yeah.
yeah, it was a risk. And what was crazy is at that point in time, my wife and I had just had our third kid.
Oh wow.
And so yeah, so people would look at me and say, man, you're freaking crazy. But yeah, people that move the world forward. Yeah. From time to time, people do call them a little bit crazy.
For sure. Okay, so let's get back into Bridgeforth just a little bit more. So, what are the Bridgeforth's core value, and how are you implementing those to kind of shape the way that we move forward as a company? I think that's one of the
Well,
things that.
before we cover that,
Yep.
why don't we introduce our listeners to really what it is we do?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so really, there's two really offers that I would say Bridgeforth has currently, and we'll get into kind of what's next, what's phase two, and what's phase three after this. But so really, right now, there's really two sides of our business that we focus on. I would say number one would be what I'll call CFO for hire, or CFO services. And so that's helping clients that, need a little assistance in the areas of finance, accounting, financial reporting, working with their lenders, doing debt restructures, M&A, that type of work. The other side of our businesses would be more of a pure play family business advisor role, or the way I like to call it, a non-family business advisor. And so, that's really, it's just about facilitating conversations that oftentimes families need to have, but for whatever reason, they have either delayed having those conversations, they're just flat out scared of having the conversation. So that's really kind of my role, and what we try to focus on is, CFO services, and then more pure play family business advisor or non-family business advisor.
And I think it's been interesting seeing you go into that, because a lot of the time they bring you on for the CFO role, or however, just because they have been ignoring those family issues or the family business issues that they haven't realized is actually spewing over into the business. So I think that's one of my favorite parts is, yeah, they bring you on as a CFO, but usually the numbers tell you, what the actual problem is. And then you get to go out there and just address the fire as quick as possible. I love one of your favorite sayings is always saying, my job here is to find the biggest fire and just go directly at it. And I think that's what's
Yeah.
been like just super interesting to see you as we go into each client, that you find out the problem, and yeah, things that they've probably been ignoring for 10, 15, maybe even longer than that in the business. And you just run, head first into it. So I've always thought that's just something that you don't see a ton of. So it's very interesting to see. And I love how you guys approach that too.
Well, and that ties into our first core value, right? I mean, it ties into our number one core value is to have courage and take risk. Again, I said it earlier, no risk it, no biscuit. And that means either a financial risk, an economic risk, or it means opening yourself up and being vulnerable with your partners, with your family members, with your team members. So, I truly believe that in order to move forward, that moving forward does not happen in your comfort zone. Growth does not happen in your comfort zone. And if it's uncomfortable, I think there's probably a reason that it's uncomfortable, but it's a thing you need to be doing. So,
Absolutely. And so that kind of transitioned us a little bit into the core values. So I'll go ahead and state Bridgeforth's core values for the listeners there. We really have four that we kind of our foundation is built on, and I'll let Jay talk more about the reasons why that is, but I'll list them here. The first one is to have courage and take risk, like Jay was talking about. The second is honesty over harmony. The third is progress over perfection. And the fourth is learn to lead. How did those kind of come about, Jay? I know that's probably something that you've formulated over the 10 years. Like you said, it's not like these ideas just come in the 5 months. It's taken years of experience and seeing the different problems in every situation you're in to formulate these. But just take us a little bit further into that.
Well, I think it boiled down to, as I was looking, how I wanted to build Bridgeforth and the culture that I wanted to create, both culture for internal clients or internal employees and advisors, but then also externally with the type of clients that I felt like we needed to be working with that were going to be successful and sustainable long term. It really kind of boiled down to, what's the philosophy? What's the mindset of the people that I want to work with? And it's people that, do have courage, are willing to take risks, which I already explained that. The second one is honesty over harmony. When I work with families, one of the first conversations that I have with them is that harmony is not the goal. If you look at any highly performing team, there are times when they don't get along very well. It's that creative tension. It's that competitive spirit. So, harmony and sitting around the campfire singing Kumbaya, that doesn't move businesses forward. That doesn't move teams forward. What moves teams and businesses forward is the willingness to be honest about your strengths, to be honest about your weaknesses, to be honest about what's working, what's not working. And so, yeah, that kind of explains the honesty over harmony.
Yeah, and it makes our Friday calls that much more exciting because it's not kind of
Oh,
a
yeah.
kumbaya event. It is, hey, what are we doing? Who needs help? How can we move forward? What's your opinion on it? What's the other opinions on it as well? I think that's one of my favorite thing is that, it's not everyone just, clapping together and okay, good job, good job. It's bringing in different viewpoints to understand it and have better perspective on things. I think that's been one of the best
It's
things.
great, man. It's if you can't mix it up, that's really, to me, that's how you build and sustain strong relationships, is being willing to mix it up, but you realize that the reason you're mixing it up is it's for a bigger purpose. It's to fulfill the vision that we've got. So the
Absolutely.
third, yeah, the
And yeah,
third value is,
my favorite one, as you know, the progress over perfection, the one that you have to drive into my head daily, or I'll say hopefully just weekly, hopefully moving forward.
yeah. So, I have another saying, that I use with clients very frequently is strategy without execution is useless. Execution without strategy is aimless. But really, that kind of gets to the heart of this one, is that nothing happens without first taking an action. And so, a lot of times they hesitate and they delay taking action because they think that they have to be perfect, that it's going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. The goal is not perfection. Yeah, you may think that that's out there, but it's to me, it's kind of an unattainable goal. And really what we're after is just making consistent progress towards what it is we're working for. So, that's the other thing is, when I look at the clients and the advisors that I want to have around Bridgeforth, it's those people that understand that, the goal is perfection. It's not perfection. It is progress, that we've got to get better each and every single day. And, the only way that we're going to do that is to consistently execute and to move and to take action.
Absolutely. Which brings
So,
us into our last one. which is learn to lead. And before we get in that, I will preference a little bit more on the progress over perfection and just how you've helped, me too in that. So these videos are something I've been wanting to do for the team. And Jay's helped push me along in that. But I also can be a little bit of a perfectionist, and that I want the video quality to be right. I want, everything to be just perfect. And obviously that's not obtainable. Like, you've got to get in, you've got to learn it. And that goes with anything. So that's something that obviously we practice. And I think that the viewers will see that too as we go. And we get better with these videos and everything. I think they'll see, us starting it how that progress isn't going to lead to perfection, but it's going to help push the needle and move us closer to it as we go.
Yep.
And then that leads us into our fourth one, which is learn to lead.
Yeah. So I guess this comes out of my belief that, your leadership skills. Yeah, there's some people that are kind of born with an innate charisma, an innate personality about them that is more conducive to leadership. But I truly do believe that leadership skills can be learned and developed over time. And so, when I sit down and I think about really what we're trying to do with clients, it's really to teach them the skills and put them, in a position to have the experiences that they need to have in order to develop their leadership ability. And the reason that they're going to do that is so that they can then take those skills, those experiences, and create more leaders within their organizations. So, we're learning for a purpose. And the reason that we're learning is so that we can take and build our leadership skills that then translates into developing the leadership skills of the people around us. So.
Absolutely. So tell us, what's your vision? Where would you like to see Bridgeforth go over the next, let's say 5 years? I know that we put out our goals and things like that, but just tell us how you'd like to see it progress in the way that you see it.
Well, I mean, if you dial it back just a little bit, like our long-term vision or our purpose, I truly believe is to help family-owned enterprises move forward and stay family. And so, that's a little bit broad, that's a little bit vague, and that's kind of by design because, what it takes one family-owned enterprise to move forward, it may be completely different than what it takes another family-owned enterprise to move forward. So in terms of like what I see as the future of what we're going to pursue in the next 5 years, it really comes down to kind of three things. And those three things are, and we talked about one of those three things earlier in terms of advising companies. So in terms of our CFO services and our family business advisory practice, that's really what we're doing is we're advising family-owned businesses, family companies, how to move forward. So that's, I would say, what I call phase one of the development of Bridgeforth. And we're in that now, right? So the next couple of years, it's going to be about growing the platform and further, adding to our pool of advisors that we have working within the Bridgeforth platform, but then also growing the number of clients that we serve. So that would be phase one. Phase two would be investing in clients. And when I say investing in clients, I mean with actual dollars. So what does that entail? That, to me, that's the creation and the deployment of Bridgeforth Capital Partners. So my idea is to raise funds, to raise money, capital from family-owned enterprises that have gone through this process before of starting or inheriting a family-owned business, growing it, and then having a liquidity event, either an all-out sale of the business or a sale of a minority interest in the business. So now this family has investable capital at their disposal. So my idea would be to raise funds from those types of folks. It's capital with a purpose. And that purpose is to help other family-owned enterprises move forward and stay family. So phase one is to build out our advisory practice. Phase two is to create and deploy Bridgeforth Capital Partners, where we invest in clients. And then phase three would be to kind of formalize our people development offer. So when I say people development, that's developing leadership skills within teams of clients. So it kind of boils down to really three things that we're going to try to do in the next 5 years, which is advise companies, invest in clients, and develop people and teams.
And the team and development, that's something that before I worked, with you guys and seeing how people run at like the CFO and CEO level, I never really, I understood it, but I never realized how much that you guys work on truly practicing and honing in those skills, like the amount of peer events that you guys do, the amount of conferences. It's something that you guys take very seriously and continue to put more and more work into. And I'm excited to see where that goes too, and how you guys deliver that with clients, because I think it is a super under developed skill, I guess is what I would say there. And seeing you guys develop your skills, even at the level that you're at, has been incredible to watch.
Well, and it kind of comes back to, I'm a huge sports fan, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, and I love team sports. And really what this comes down to is, yeah, you can develop and train, a highly capable individual contributor, but their capabilities are limited by themselves. So if you look at the best sports teams, in the world, whether it's my favorite football team, the Kansas City Chiefs,
Let's go.
or the K-State Wildcats, right? So what are they really good at? It's getting the team aligned and headed and coordinated in the same direction. And so it's the same thing with leadership teams within these family-owned businesses is, yeah, you can work with one person on the leadership team and develop them into a really high-level individual contributor. But to me, where the magic happens is if you can develop a whole entire team instead of one superstar.
Absolutely. Well, that kind of brings us up on our time here. I hope you've all enjoyed hearing how an idea becomes a reality. I'm super excited to share this video series with you guys, and I hope that you're able to take away actionable steps to put into place in your business. I know that we have a lot of value packed in with our CFOs, managers, advisors, and key collaborators that are going to bring you guys some solid information. If you guys found anything useful in this video, please give us a follow. We're super appreciative of that. I'll also be adding a link tree into the description that'll show you where to follow us on our socials. They're pretty bare right now as we're only 5 months old, but we hope to really deliver on you guys as we kick off this video series. Thank you guys for all joining in. We appreciate you.